Today we're going to be putting a lift kit on a car. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to be, it's going to be so much fun. Tiger's eating my face. Don't eat my face.
What's going on, everybody? Today I'm excited to show you a new product from Readylift Suspensions SST lineup of lift kits. Now, SST stands for Smart Suspension Technology, and these lift kits will give you a few inches of lift without modifying your brake lines, wire harnesses, or other suspension components. However, I am installing this lift on a vehicle it wasn't designed for. After reviewing the installation instructions for the new generation RAV4, which encompasses years 2013 through 2018, I believe that this kit will work on the previous 4.3 generation, which encompasses years 2006 through 2012. I reached out to Readylift with my idea, and they were very interested and actually sent me a lift kit to test out my idea, and this is what follows. So let's walk through the installation. Of course, you want to loosen the lug nuts before you jack up the vehicle. Also, be sure to place wheel chocks behind the wheels to ensure the vehicle doesn't roll back. Be sure to let the vehicle rest on a suitable jack stand and not just the jack. Quick tip, my father-in-law showed me a few weeks ago that a 3-inch C-clamp placed around the jack stand will eliminate any play and add some stability. Next, we will remove the lug nuts and take the tire off. With the front tire off, we can remove the ABS brackets and brake line brackets. Let them hang out of the way, but stay conscious of them throughout installation to avoid damage. Then we will remove the sway bar end links from the strut. Be mindful of these as the Allen key and the stud can strip easily. To make this process easier, I will place a floor jack underneath the control arm so I can remove any pressure from the sway bar. Now we can remove the bolts that connect the strut to the knuckle. Friendly reminder, you will want a breaker bar or giant ratchet for this, and be sure to only loosen the nut and not the bolt. After the initial torque is broken loose, you can remove the nuts with a smaller ratchet. Then use a floor jack to find the sweet spot where the pressure on the bolts is minimal. These should come out easily. If they don't, keep changing the height with your floor jack. I should also mention that the instructions do say to remove the tie rod ends at this point, but I felt that wasn't necessary, so I left them alone and everything worked out okay. Now that the bolts are out, lower the floor jack so the knuckle can swing forward away from the strut. Then, pop the hood to gain access to the 3 strut mount nuts. Take off the hard to reach nuts first, leaving the most accessible nut on. Then grab the coil spring with one hand and loosen the remaining bolt with the other. If necessary, have a partner help you with this, as the strut is pretty heavy. With the strut assembly removed, it's time to start installing the lift kit. Per the instructions, you will want the bottom of the R-shaped cutout facing the exterior of the vehicle. To ensure proper positioning, just line up the R with the side of the strut that has the mounting brackets for the knuckle. Next, slide the lift spacer over the studs. However, some aftermarket struts may require some trimming with an angle grinder or a file in order to ensure the spacer seats properly. Then apply thread locker to each stud before installing the 3 nuts. When installing these fasteners, don't tighten any of them until all three have threads engaged. If you tighten one of the nuts first, there isn't enough clearance to slide the others between the stud and the top of the spacer. After all fasteners have been tightened, use a crowfoot extension mounted at a 90-degree angle on a torque wrench, and then torque the nuts to 30 foot-pounds. Now we can start putting things back together. If you're working by yourself, I find it's easiest to slide the strut into place from the bottom and then keep pressure on it until you can engage one of the strut mount nuts. Tighten all of the nuts, but don't torque anything until after everything is back together and the wheels are on the ground. Next, we will use the floor jack to raise the knuckle to the strut. I use a tire iron to help align the hole for the top bolt. After both bolts are through, apply thread locker and tighten the bolts until they are snug, but don't torque them yet. One of the reasons this lift kit handles so well is that it includes a relocation bracket for the sway bar end links. Install this with a bolt and washer facing the interior of the vehicle, as that will allow you to torque the nut easily. Also, be sure that the L-shaped bend is facing the exterior of the vehicle. That will allow it to come in contact with the original sway bar bracket on the strut. Then install another washer and coat the bolt with some thread locker before you tighten it down. Now use the floor jack to raise the assembly until it reaches the height of the sway bar end link. Apply thread locker and tighten the end link nut. To make it easier, I let the Allen wrench rest against the provided bolt for the relocation bracket. That way I can tighten the end link using only one hand. Now lower the strut assembly back down and start installing the ABS and brake line connectors. When installing the brackets that attach to the strut, the brake line bracket must go on first and then the ABS bracket. Otherwise, you may cross-thread the bolt. Then use a pair of pliers or a flathead screwdriver to pry open the bracket that holds the ABS wire to the frame. Be careful not to damage the wire, and once it's free, reinstall it by turning the wiring 180 degrees so that there will be more play. Also, you will need to slide the small rubber piece surrounding the wire up so that it can reach the clamp. Squeeze the bracket clamp so that it holds the ABS wire tight, and then reinstall the bracket to the frame. Now you can reinstall all of the bolts that clamp the lines into place. Then torque everything except for the strut tower nuts. Reinstall the wheel, lower the vehicle, tighten your lug nuts using a star pattern, torque the strut tower bolts to 30 foot-pounds after the wheel is back on the ground, and repeat this process for the other side. Installing the front spacers is a little bit more challenging and complex than the rear subframe lift, but you only have to do one side at a time. When installing the rear subframe spacers, it requires you to have both wheels lifted at the same time, so safety is a top priority here. After the vehicle is lifted and the wheels are off, take the bolts out of the ABS brackets and let them hang out of the way. Then support the subframe cradle with a jack by putting slight pressure on the cradle assembly, but don't lift the vehicle off of the jack stands. Then you will loosen the cradle studs on both sides of the vehicle. Unscrew the nut until it reaches the end of the stud, but don't remove them yet. Remember, the subframe lift requires you to lower and lift the cradle simultaneously. Both sides must be removed and installed at the same time. Then loosen the bolts that hold the front of the cradle in. If you don't have the supporting jack in the center of the cradle, it may shift when removing the last bolt. Then you can lower the cradle jack to make room for the lift spacers. This is the other area where I slightly deviate from the instructions. On this older RAV4, there is an indentation in the frame that allows you to install the spacer facing inward rather than outward. I chose to do this because it prevents the spacer from turning or backing out over time. However, the engineers at Readylift assured me that proper torque would do the same thing. Remember to put thread locker on the stud and the nut. After both of the rear subframe spacers are installed, insert the front spacer mounts over the bolt holes. Put the small washer, then large laser cut washer onto the provided bolt, apply thread locker, and screw into the hole. Once all 4 spacers have been installed, you can torque everything to 65 foot-pounds. Now do a quick visual inspection of the brake lines and ABS lines to ensure there's enough play to facilitate the lift. This is the best time to do so as you will be at maximum suspension travel with the vehicle in the air. The lift comes with relocation brackets for the ABS lines. On this older model RAV4, the tang on the bracket is the exact same diameter of the hole, which prevents it from sliding in easily. However, if you put the bracket in sideways and then rotate downwards, it should go in with relative ease. Then install the bolt that holds it to the frame. Slide the provided bolt and washer from the rear, put on the factory ABS bracket, apply thread locker, slide on another washer, and then the nut. All of the ABS bolts get torqued to 5 foot-pounds, and that's it. Just put the wheels back on and you have 12 inches of ground clearance in your RAV4. Remember, take it to a shop immediately to get an alignment. The handling of the vehicle is much better when you use Readylift's recommended specs. Some models will also need an adjustable rear tow bar, but I'll cover that in the next video. Here are a few shots of the current setup. I've had the lift kit on for a month and have experienced no issues, and I absolutely love it. I want to thank Readylift for making this build possible. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. How do you feel about this lifted RAV4?